City Council, Governor Senator Neal. If you want to play optimum music, you cannot only use the white keys on the piano. To play optimum music, you have to use both the white keys and the black keys. Unfortunately, in our city and throughout America, for many years, in fact centuries, we've only played the white keys. So we have deprived ourselves of our greatest melodies. If I would ask you the question, who is the villain in the story of the three pigs, you would say the wolf. That's because you are pig-centric. But I went to the Hall of Justice and talked to the wolf, and I said, what happened? Tell me your story, so I can put a plaque up, a marker up. Well, the wolf told me, first of all, he thanked me because his perspective was never given. He said, this is what really happened. He said, I was the first wolf in an all-pig neighborhood. And one day I had a cold. The drugstores were closed, couldn't get any NyQuil. So I knocked on my neighbor's, the pig's house, and said, would you give me some NyQuil? And because he had been taught to hate and fear wolves, he said, not by the hair of my chinny chin chin. So he said, I sneezed, and my sneezing blew the straw house down and killed the pigs. And I said, well, there's no need in wasting the pig feet, the chitlins, and the ham hocks. So I ate it. The point I'm making is that perspective is everything. And this event is important because this is the perspective that has often been omitted. Think of the courage it took for the Bradens, who are sacred. The Bradens, Colin and Braden. Think of the courage it took for them in 1954, this same year the Brown decision. Think of the courage it took for them to say we're going to do something so that both the black keys and the white keys are played. And so we come to commemorate this event, to celebrate their courage, and to be inspired to move on beyond symbolism. Symbols are important. Symbolism cannot substitute for substance. This is a holiday, Juneteenth. Thank God for holidays. But holidays cannot substitute for payday. Amen. And reparation. Amen. So may we be inspired by that former generation who did their work, and that's why we're here, to help the black and the white keys play together. A poet said, it's not courage if you're not a bit afraid to scale the high mountain or descend into the glade. This is what courage is, at least I call it so, to see that high mountain and the glade and still say, I'll go. And that's what the Bradens and Wades did. One black, one white, black keys, white keys, playing together to create music. And that's great. Oh God, we miss Ann. Lord, there have been so many times when we have felt injustice, gender discrimination, sexual orientation discrimination, racial discrimination, class discrimination. And we say, oh, we miss Ann, we miss Carl, we miss the ladies. So help us to be inspired so that we too might be a new generation of Bradens and Wades. Thank you, Lord, for this occasion. May it mean something special to us as we continue to perfect our union. In the name of God.
guests that come to the podium to speak, could you please speak a little louder because of the speaker and the noise that we have in the background from traffic. So please speak up if you can so everyone can hear you. And if you can't, please kind of let us know if you need to speak a little louder, please. Next, I will be introducing our guests and our council members. Our guests will be starting with our Shively Mayor, Beverly Chester Burton. I don't know if Miss Hannah Drake is here to do her poem, so she's on here as well. I have Andrea Wade.
That's my baby.
I have Bill Thompson. He's representing the Braden family. I have Andy Bashir, the governor. I have Joni Jenkins, House of Representatives, District 44. I have Senator Gerald Neal, District 33. I have Michael Meeks. He's here to represent the Louisville Mayor Fisher spokesperson. Keisha Dorsey, District 3 for Metro Council. Jefferson Town Mayor Bill Drug. And Ruby Hyde, she's representing the Shively Historical Society. Also, I'd like to represent our city council. We have Maria Johnson here. Will you stand up, please? Tiffany McDroom. Sharon Baker. Is Wendell Benson here? He's a butler right now for a tournament. He's one of our other city council members. And we also have Chester Burrell. He's not here at the moment. He's having some issues with his family, so he sends his love. So, next, we'll be giving remarks from our mayor, which is from Beverly Chester Burton. I would like to read her bio to you as well. The Honorary Beverly Chester Burton was elected in 2006 as the first African American to serve on Shively City Council, as well as the first African American to run for mayor of Shively in 2008. In May of 2018, she won Shively. In May of 2018, she won her mayor's seat, becoming the first African American to serve as mayor of Shively, Kentucky. In 2016, she started the LEAD program, Leaders Engaging Activities in Politics, a program that encourages community building and guide aspiring politicians seeking to bring positive change in their community through public service. Chester Burton attended University of Louisville, Spalding University, and Western Kentucky University. She holds a specialist degree in education, master in teaching K through 12, master in education counseling and psychology, and a bachelor's in communication. Her civic and community involvement includes Shively Lions Club, the YMCA Black Achievers, Louisville Metro Parks Commission, Board of Directors, Jefferson County Teachers Association, and Kentucky Education Association, Neighborhood Institution, Jefferson County Government Task Force, Kentucky Emergency Response Commission, and the James Brown County Center. Big Brothers, Big Sisters. Easter Seal, Metro Democratic Club, Louisville Democratic Party Executive Board, Greater Louisville Association of Democrats, Metropolitan Louisville's Women Political Caucus, Coalition of Labor Union, Louisville Women, Emerge Kentucky, and Common for Care. She has received various awards for her community involvement. Some awards include Women of Achievement, Who's Who among professionals, and YMCA Black Achievers. She's a teacher, an education consultant, as well as a social justice and women's leadership training for the National Education Association. Currently, she serves as the NEA Middle Atlantic Women's Caucus Chair, representing the states of Kentucky, Virginia, Washington, D.C., Maryland, Delaware, Ohio, North Carolina, and West Virginia. Chester Burton is married to Albert Burton. They have 2 daughters, Crystal and Tiffany. She is a native of Hopkins County, Kentucky, and the daughter of Cozy and Lynn Chester Sr. What has she not done? What has she not done? I introduce to you our Mayor of Chapel, Jackie Chester Burton.
Thank you so much for being here. And I must say, it's Hopkinsville, because if I didn't clarify that, those that know me that are here from Hopkinsville would not be happy. So Hopkinsville, Kentucky is my home. I just want to thank everybody for taking time out of their day to be with us today here on this exciting day. I tell you, I was praying all week and all night, thinking about the weather, because I wanted this to be a beautiful day. I knew that it would be a beautiful day, whether it rained or not, just because of what the cause is for today. And that is a celebration of both the Wade and Braden families. That's why we're here. Many years ago, as I would drive the space, the corridor of Crumbs Lane, and I would see this space and I would say, something belongs there. Couldn't quite figure it out. But I said, something belongs there. And so it became clear to me when I became mayor that I would try my best to encourage city council in thinking about placing something in this spot. It could have been an amphitheater for all I care, but something needed to belong here. So as I drove through the neighborhood, it really became clear. Because when you leave here today, you have a moment. If you look directly across the parking lot behind us, you will now see a yellow and blue honorary street sign that is for Andrew and Charlotte Wade. That sign, we put those up yesterday. And as you drive Shively or throughout Shively, you're not only going to see it there. I thought it was important that as we place these signs, that we let people know that history happened here. And so with that, you will see the sign coming off of Crumbs Lane. You will see it coming off Gars and Dixie. That will lead you to the street is now called Clyde Drive, but in 1954 it was called Rome Court. And so those that visit our city will be able to see, if they're wondering where it all happened, those street signs will guide you there. Okay? I'm not going to keep you long because we have many others that have much to say. But I do want to say that on behalf of the city of Shively, we want to acknowledge that in 1954, something happened here. And this Wade-Braden Peace Park will be a reflection for those that want to come and just reflect just what's happening on their day-to-day lives, their past, their present, their future. So we're hoping that as we move forward with the development of this park, that we will have others that are willing to join us in the vision of it. Because this is not just about us. This is our home, our community, and our city, but we want input from all those that are just as passionate about it as we are. So we acknowledge that the Wade and Bradens in 1954 were families that had a very, very difficult time with the housing issue here. And they were our housing pioneers. And because they were our housing pioneers, is why Shively looks the way it does today.
That's right. Yeah.
So I just want to, again, thank you all for joining us today in this historic moment. I am very thankful for all the support for those of you that have visited with us. And just know that we will continue to strive to be a city of peace and unity as we go through this process. Thank you. So Hannah Drake, pretty much, she's popular. She's overbooked. She's down on probably 4th Street. She had some different things going on today. And so I told her that if she didn't make it, I'd make sure that the poem would be read. So with that being said, Chanel Thompson's going to read poem Spaces, which is the one that she had intended to read.
Spaces. Spaces that were not designed for me. Spaces that were not constructed for people that look like me. Spaces that scream, you do not belong here. Spaces that feel like sandpaper against my blackness. Coarse, rough, painful, uneasy. Spaces that are void of signs, but I still can see them hanging in a not so distant memory. Signs that separate water foundations and restaurants. Blankly reminding people that these spaces were not for them. And although the signs no longer remain, the agriculture and atmosphere is constructed in such a way that I know and we know that these are not our spaces. We are simply standing in borrowed time to entertain the master's masses. It is difficult to stand in these spaces and be me, fully me. Code switching.
Say that.
Code switching. Delivered to make you feel uncomfortable. What does my life have to dress itself in discomfort for you to be at ease? Why does my skin threaten you in these spaces? Why does my hair have to look a certain way to stand in these spaces? These are spaces that I no longer want to reside in. I don't enjoy these spaces. I no longer desire to subject myself to these spaces. Then I am reminded as I stand in these spaces and as I see the faces of two little black girls watching me performing all because I am a person with kinky hair like them, and skin that looks like theirs, and lips that looks like theirs, standing in these spaces. Spaces that have been designed in ways that have spoken to them at an early age, reminding them that some spaces just ain't for your kind. That is why I stand in these spaces, being a shout in these spaces, for every black person that survived a room to see if there was anyone that looked like them in these spaces. I remember those that stood in spaces not designed for them. They marched on roads not paid for them, that sat in seats on buses not marked for them. They sat down at counters and endured humiliation of sitting in spaces not designed for them, so that one day I too could stand in these spaces. This is why I am in these spaces. It is for everyone that came before me, that sat in spaces, that made them all ease, that sipped water at the color only fountain, that stood in spaces that made them uneasy. They walked into integrated schools and knew that they were one of 9. This is why I stand in these spaces that makes me uncomfortable, speaking boldly against injustice, even while now you sit staring at me and you are uncomfortable. You cannot unsee me in this space I belong. In this space. We are here and we belong here in this space. Next to the mic, I would like to invite Andrea Wade to come up.
Adrian.
Adrian.
Y'all keep on calling me Adrian.
I would like for Adrian to come up to speak in honor of the Wade family. She's actually the granddaughter of Charlotte and Andrew.
First of all, I would like to say thank you for everybody that cares about this cause attending. It's long time overdue. I'm kind of nervous a little bit, but these Andrew and Charlotte Wade were the best people. It was a pleasure to know them. It was a pleasure to know them. Things that sound like lies was the truth with me. What they did. And my auntie, I love her just as much, and we just really just had, it's a long time overdue. I don't even know what else to really say. And I'm so glad to see everybody of all different colors and nationalities thinking this is important. And I'm really grateful for that. And this is Andrew 5. So that's what we do when we say we gonna multiply. We gonna
It's a good first name.
Okay.
Thank you. That's all I said. Thank you. I'm grateful for everybody showing up. Thank you.
Stephen, he's also here. He's the great nephew of the Wade family.
Hello, I'd also like to bring my cousin up here with me. She's also the granddaughter of the Wades. So I just want to say on behalf of the family that we're really honored. Like my cousin said, it's a long time overdue. But with that being said, I also want to say that I think that the name of this park is really, really significant, being that it's called the Peace Park. Because what my great aunt and my great uncle went through, it was really about peace in the end. And though a lot of lives were put on the line and the risk and different things were taken, they wanted peace at the end. And the fact that there was a wall there, I think we must also understand that there was hate that built certain walls and certain barriers at that time. And with my uncle having the courage to go through what he went through, I believe that the fact that it hurt some people for them to move into this all-white neighborhood where they weren't wanted, but he also knew that it was going to tear down some walls that needed to be torn down. And I just want to say that for their work and the work of the Bradens, everyone in Shively now will have an understanding that passes by this park of what happened. And the fact that the past is not being covered up, but it's actually being put out front, so people have a better understanding of what America once was and how we can also do better. So I'm going to close and just saying I have one thing that I say to my children, and it's a phrase because sometimes children, seem to think that they're older than what they actually are at their age. So it's like, I understand you're growing up, and one day you'll consider yourself grown, but we're never grown, we're always growing. And that's how I feel like America is, and today as the eyes are focused on Shively, I feel like that's what Shively is as well. It's something that can never be grown, but something that can always grow. And I really thank the mayor for putting together these efforts to turn this area into a park and just bring more significance to a great thing. Because like I said, this is not only about the Bradens, it's not only about the Wades, it's also about other people's names that you guys may not know that also risk their lives and risk their reputations to stand on the right side of justice. So with that being said, I just want to go ahead and let my cousin say any remarks she would like to say, and we really appreciate all you all for coming out and honoring me.
What I wanted to say here today is that neither of my grandparents wanted the recognition. They didn't want to be in the forefront. They didn't want the attention. They did it just because that's what anyone in the same situation would do. Even my grandfather said, I wasn't doing this to be brave. I wasn't doing this so that people would know who I am. I did that because I was just looking for a safe place to raise my family. And I would like to think that that's what any of us would do in the same situation. I am so grateful for the opportunity to be here with you all today. I'm so thankful that you all are here with us today. And I am just, it means a lot to our family to have the support. And I am very excited at the fact that the name of the park is the Peace Park. Like my cousin said, both of my cousins said, that's all our family would ever want, is for everyone to have a safe place to get together and to have celebrations such as this. So thank you all for being here today.
Thank you. Next, we will have Bill. He's the spokesperson for the Braden family.
Thank you very much. I'm not sure I'm an adequate spokesperson for the Braden family, but I know that they would be overwhelmed with this park today. I think Ann and Carl would say thank you so much for putting it right out on Crumbs Lane. So that everybody that drives past on Crumbs Lane can see the Braden Wade Park. And can think back in 1954, the heroic act that they did, and never forget that. And that's what's great about putting this out here, right here. And I grew up at Taylor Boulevard and Phyllis Avenue, south end of Louisville. In 1954, around the dinner table, my parents looked at the Courier Journal and said, Carl and Ann Braden, whoever they are, purchased this home for this black family. They may have used another epitaph in black at that point, in Shively. And that was it. There wasn't a lot of discussion. In 1968, Ann and Carl asked me to be their lawyer for their organization, the Southern Conference Educational Fund. We called it SCIF. When I drove to Louisville to meet Ann and Carl, I circled their office at 3208 West Broadway about 3 times because I was a little aware of their reputation, and I was scared. But I knew that Carl and Ann were fighting against the war in Vietnam, and they were fighting for racial justice. Those two issues meant an awful lot to me and many young people, college students in the 1960s, and others besides college students. And I eventually said, if that's good enough, if they're going to do that, and those are important to me, then I can be their lawyer. Ann and Carl said, here was a young lawyer, didn't have an office, didn't have a secretary, but believed in what SCIF wanted to accomplish and what Carl and Ann wanted to do. And they said some things that meant a lot then, they still hold true today. They said, Bill, you just go into court and you make the best legal arguments you can make. Don't worry about what we're doing out in the streets. Don't worry that we're going to pack the courtroom with friends. You just get up there and do the best you can. That was awfully good advice for a young lawyer and for anybody, really. The same advice holds true today. Ann and Carl said many, many times at staff meetings and when Ann was speaking, the most important thing that white people can do is to fight for racial justice. It held true in 1954, it held true in the 1960s, and it holds true today.
Yes. Yes.
I want to thank the mayor, I want to thank Beverly, who I've known for a long time. Thank you so much for this wonderful, historical marker that will be here forever, that we can drive by and have picnics here and get-togethers here. Thank you, Shively Council, for doing this. That's a wonderful statement. I would be remiss in not saying this, that Carl and Ann were arrested for sedition, for trying to help a black family purchase a home in the suburbs of Louisville. Also, those cases were thrown out, although Carl did about a year in jail at the state penitentiary. Later in 1968, SCIF had organizers that were working in Appalachia to bring justice for people that live there. And organizers for SCIF were arrested for sedition, the same law that had been thrown out in 1954. And those charges were thrown out by a 3-judge panel the same day of the hearing. In that time, there was a governor running for Kentucky named Louis Nunn, and in eastern Kentucky, there were bumper stickers that said, "Braden's out, Nunn in," for governor. Today, we can honor our governor today for being here. Thank you so much.
Next, we have Joni Jenkins, House of Representatives.
That's all right. My bio is much shorter than hers.
Next I have Andy Bashir, the governor, and Mayor Chester Burke will be introducing him.
Governor Andy Bashir grew up in Central Kentucky and graduated from Henry Clay High School before attending Vanderbilt University and the University of Virginia Law School. His family and community instilled in him the values of faith, family, and public service. He leaned on those values more than ever during the COVID-19 pandemic. Which began in Kentucky just 3 months after he took office. During this crisis, Governor Bashir steadfastly put science and the safety of all Kentuckians ahead of politics. His early and bold actions during COVID-19, combined with Team Kentucky's cooperation and compassion, undoubtedly saved thousands of lives. Now he is helping Kentucky sprint out of the pandemic as our economy gets ready for liftoff. In 2021 alone, businesses have announced plans to create nearly over 30,000 new full-time Kentucky resident jobs.
Yes.
The governor and his wife, First Lady Brittany Bashir, along with their 2 children, reside in the Kentucky Governor's Mansion and are active in Louisville's Beergrass Christian Church. Please join me in welcoming our governor and yours, Andy Bashir.
How good does it feel to be here in person, able to celebrate today? And how good does it feel that for the very first time today is a federal national holiday? And Senator Neal, how good will it feel next year when this is an official state holiday as well? I want to thank the mayor, who has been a wonderful friend of mine, for the invitation today. And I want to thank Shively for doing the right thing. I know it takes the right type of leadership that truly cares for their people and that recognizes that understanding and being honest about the past is required if we're going to do the right things in the future. You know, we're recognizing courage today of families who are willing to do the right thing when it was really hard. And my faith teaches me that doing the right thing is always hard. But I want to recognize how hard it must have been for them each and every day. I think that courage is inspiring. To be honest, last year I've had to make a number of hard decisions every day.
Yes.
But none of those days did I face what your family would have faced. Even with people showing up to protest once or twice, we never face and we're never worried about our safety the way that your family must have been every single day. It is absolutely incredible, and it is a great lesson, beacon, North Star to all of us about doing right in hard times. I want to acknowledge that I will never be able to fully understand the weight of discrimination, of decades and centuries of slavery, of Jim Crow, of systematic racism, which does exist across America. But I'm committed to listening, to trying to hear, and trying to act. And I hope you've seen some good actions out of your governor's office.
Oh, yeah.
Whether it was before COVID, on my 3rd day in office when I signed an executive order that has now restored voting rights to 180,000 Kentuckians. or during COVID, when we were able to expand healthcare to more Kentuckians and more African American Kentuckians than ever before. And I talked to Pastor Cosby about this, about how important it is to be intentional. Because when we were doing that, our African American Kentuckians, our brothers and sisters, were dying at twice the rate they made up of Kentucky's population. Today, that death rate is under the amount African American Kentuckians make up of our population. I mean, even in a pandemic, doing right and being intentional about it, bringing everybody in, being a difference between life and death, showed that I do think that we can make a difference. And as I was listening to Hannah Drake's amazing words, she doesn't even have to be here to move us. And I was thinking about spaces that people don't feel welcome in. I thought a little bit about our Capitol Rotunda. And I thought about how 2 years ago, many people walking in there would have looked up and seen a statue that made them feel less than other people. And today, they never have to look at that statue in the Capitol Rotunda ever again. But I still come back to thinking about that courage, to thinking about the true pioneers in the civil rights movement. Yesterday at WLOU, we were able to recognize some of them. But even on my toughest days, when I'd walk out in that Capitol and I'd look at Lincoln, I thought about not only what he faced, but what our civil rights leaders face every day. How much harder that was. How much more they were putting themselves on the line. And I'll tell you, during COVID, I drew strength from families like yours. And so today, with this special day, with commemorating this park, so this isn't just one day recognizing families. It's putting their example into action for future families to see, to hear about, to ask about, to learn how to do the right thing, even when it's hard. I want to make sure that we provide an extra recognition. See, today being June 19th, the first time it has been a national holiday, and what we are doing at this park today, I wanted to make sure that the state officially recognized Juneteenth right here, right now, today. So I brought our official proclamation, and if I could have the families come up here, I'd love to present it to y'all today. This is to all whom are present. Whereas during the Civil War, over 200,000 African Americans fought bravely in the Union Armed Forces to secure their freedom from slavery and preserve this Union. And many sacrificed their lives for the ultimate freedom of their families. And whereas Juneteenth, National Freedom Day, celebrates the events of June 19, 1865, when Major General Gordon Granger led Union soldiers into Galveston, Texas, to bring news that the Civil War had ended, and read General Order Number 3, which stated that in accordance with President Abraham Lincoln's Emancipation Proclamation, all enslaved African American people were free and entitled to absolute equality of personal and property rights. And whereas following that statement, which unjustly and unconscionably came 2.5 years after the Emancipation Proclamation, leaving African Americans enslaved even though they were free, June 19th became the emancipation date of enslaved African Americans who had long suffered and fought for freedom, justice, and equality. And whereas throughout America, Juneteenth celebrations are convened on June 19th to celebrate African American history, journey, and culture. And whereas June 19th commemorates the strength and courage of African Americans, the contributions of African Americans to building of American institutions, wealth, and innovations, and their ultimate triumph over extreme adversity through sheer determination and overwhelming tenacity. And whereas Kentuckians must continue to work towards a more equitable Commonwealth, while recognizing the horrors of slavery and its legacy. And whereas recognition of Juneteenth reflects the Commonwealth's resounding belief in liberty and equality for every citizen, now, therefore, I, Andy Beshear, Governor of the Commonwealth of Kentucky, do hereby proclaim June 19, 2021 as Juneteenth National Freedom Day. And we had to present it to another Andrew today. Thank you to these amazing families. Thank you to all our incredible leaders who are here today. I believe a better Commonwealth is in front of us. I believe prosperity is in front of us. But that requires a responsibility that it reach every part of our Commonwealth, every part of the city of Louisville, and every other city across Kentucky. If we can do this right, if we can take advantage and fix historic wrongs and what I think is going to be unprecedented prosperity, then I truly believe we'll have done the right thing. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Governor. Next we have Johnny Jenkins, the House Representative.
The lesson for today is when they call you up before the governor, jump up. A hard act to follow.
Got seniority, Tony.
Thank you so much for inviting me into this sacred space today. What a day this is. What a celebration of what Shively is today. My family and I moved to Shively this November 61 years ago. Y'all can do the math real fast in your head. I'm 62 years old. And you know, growing up in Shively, which was in a predominantly white neighborhood, when people brought up what happened over on Clyde Drive, you know what folks in Shively said? That wasn't Shively then. We annexed that later. We annexed it when the expressway came in. And you know why they said that? Because they knew it was shameful. They knew what happened here was shameful, and they were ashamed of it. And for many years, no one wanted to talk about what happened on Clyde Drive in 1954. And you know, the reputation that Shively had while I was growing up was not good. People felt like some of their friends and family would not be welcome here. It was shameful. And there are people today that want us to forget that history. And I don't think we can. I don't think we should celebrate that history, but I think we should recognize it because we've come so far since that day. I wish that Metro Council President David James was here because he and I grew up in Shively together. And his experiences were much different than mine were. And we've talked about that over the years, about how different it was for him being a young black man growing up in the city as it was for me being a young white woman. History matters. History matters. We cannot forget what happened, but what we can do is come forward and look at where we are today, Shively. Where we are, that we're a community that is diverse, that everyone feels welcome, everyone can be here. And this park here will symbolize that for everyone. Thank you so much for letting me be here. Thank you so much, Wade family, for being here. It is just what your family has added to Shively is immeasurable. Your family has given so much to this community, and we can never forget that, and we can celebrate that. So thank you so much. And thank you, Mayor Burton, for putting it right here on our main street in Shively that says everyone's welcome here, all families are welcome here. And are we perfect? No, we're not perfect. But we have work to do, and I'm here to work with you. I also want to recognize my colleague, Representative Neva Concarney, that is here. Who represents part of Shively, and also Representative Reginald Meeks, who could not be here, who represents part of Shively. Those are my team members that we help to do Shively here. Thank you so much.
Next we have Senator Gerald Neal, District 33.
Yes.
said a very important event was taking place. So I dressed up for it. But when I revisited that note, I realized when they said it was a very important event, they said, but please dress down when you come here. So I missed the message. I'm a little out of sort, but actually I'm happy to be here, and I appreciate it. Mayor Wade-Braden, thank you so much. Thank you for your leadership. Sitting next to the big poncho, the governor, Andrew Bashir, who's done a fantastic job as governor of this county. And I'm a witness to that, along with my colleagues in the House. So, the Wade family. Yeah. You know, it's interesting to be standing here looking at you guys, because when I think of what's going on here, I can tell you that I'm a witness to history. Because the Shively that we are in now is not the Shively of yesterday. I remember my father used to tell us when we would drive down 31W, Dixie Highway, get on the floorboard. Because going through Shively as a black person back in those days was a dangerous thing to do. I remember my father coming home and saying, I'm about 9 years old. Of course, I'm 39, you do the math. Unlike my colleague. Anyway, I remember my father coming home and talking about what was happening over in Shively, and he and his friends gathering up their guns to go to that property to defend it because the police department wouldn't in those days. That's not the Shively Police Department of today. No. And that's not the Shively that we know now. So a lot of things have changed since then, but then again, a lot of things have not changed. And the question is, what are we going to do about that? So that's what this represents here. It represents an opportunity. It's not just a reflection on the past. It's also the opportunities that's given to each and one of us to make a difference in what's not just happening now, but what is to come. We can mold the future, and that's what this is about to me. I guarantee you that nothing will stop that future from being molded in a very positive way. As I look around this group, right here, white and black, I think about Ann and Carl Braden. Guess what? I actually met Andrew Wade. I was 9 years old, but I met Andrew Wade. I'll tell you what, I knew Ann and Carl Braden personally from a young man. They were folks that came into my household back during this period and even before. They lived on the next block over for most of my life on Virginia Avenue when they moved into that particular area, because they had to move into that community for protection, basically, because they couldn't step outside of this. Just telling you what we're dealing with now is not gone. It's real. I celebrate this. I applaud our mayor for bringing this forward, but I must say to you that the struggle continues, and we all have a very important personal part of that. So, I'm going to get down to this business here, having said those things, because I think we need to commemorate, the bravery of that individual that was just looking for a safe place for his family. It was more than that. But I remember as an humble individual back in those days, kind of quiet, kind of soft-spoken, if I remember correctly. And I would tell you, this individual had courage. His wife, Charlotte, had courage. They stepped forward, and I don't have to talk about Ann and Carl. They had courage. Their whole lives exemplified that. But I want to say on behalf of the Senate this. The Senate, the Commonwealth of Kentucky, to all to whom these presents shall come greetings. Know ye that the late Andrew and Charlotte Wade, Carl and Ann Braden, as well as those who stood with them and for the protection of basic civil and human rights, are recognized and honored for serving their fellow man with such integrity and courage, and for continually utilizing their time and resources to stand in support of equality and justice in their community and well beyond. Inasmuch as Andrew and Charlotte Wade, an electrical company owner and homemaker, sought to secure a home in the neighborhood of choice, Carl Braden, Ann Braden, Carl, a great unionist,
journalist, and activist, and Ann Braden, an activist, journalist, and educator, made it their life's work to support the cause of racial equality, all of which face grave danger to their lives and livelihoods in their pursuit of basic constitutionally protected rights. These distinguished honorees are offered the solemn and sincere gratitude of the Kentucky Senate and of all the Kentuckians for the sacrifices they made in the interests of the common good, are remembered with the utmost respect and admiration for having lived their lives with such integrity and courage. And on my motion, Senator Gerald Neal, this was passed in Frankfurt, and it's in honor of this day, signed by the President of the Senate as well as myself. So I want to congratulate this mayor for stepping forward and having the vision and the insight to give leadership to this. I want to thank this Shively Council for stepping forward and pulling that muscle up and saying, let's get this done. And I want to thank all of you all for coming out and celebrating this moment. But remember one thing, the struggle continues.
Thank you, Senator. Next, we have Michael Meeks, spokesperson for the Mayor Fisher.
Thank you. I really wish I had gone first because up to this point, the speakers have been progressively getting better. Residents of Shively, friends, relatives, and acquaintances of Andrew and Charlotte Wade, and Carl and Ann Braden, distinguished guests, Governor, members of the City Council, Mayor Beverly Chester Burton, thank you. This morning we're here to celebrate an electrician and a homemaker, a journalist and his wife, who was a prolific writer in her own right, an educator, four ordinary people who did extraordinary things, people who conscientiously objected to the status quo, who circumvented racial boundaries of their time, who were modest in personality and stature, but mighty in courage. We're here this Juneteenth holiday weekend to celebrate with you the beginning of your new vision, unity in the community, and the dedication of the Wade-Braden Peace Park. Unfortunately, Mayor Fisher cannot be here with you today, but again, my name is Michael Meeks. I'm with the Office of Equity. I'm a lifelong resident of Louisville, born and raised at 28th and Virginia Avenue. I remember the Wades on Sunday afternoons in the summertime. They would come to our house and we'd have picnics in the backyard. I remember the games, conversations, the food, especially the desserts. And I particularly remember the feeling of family. And it's my hope that the Wade-Braden Peace Park is a venue for such family connections, a haven for higher thought, and a place of peace for everyone. I remember Ann Braden also. I remember meeting with her in her office, her smoking and talking about things that the community needs. She was a mighty, mighty warrior. But these two families were giants in the field of social justice. While we've come a very long way, we have many challenges ahead. We in Louisville Metro government are constantly working to address those challenges. Juneteenth has long been a great day in the celebration of Black families. And Mayor Fisher has said, it's long past time that our city and everyone in our city honors the victory for freedom that Juneteenth represents. It's also very appropriate that we hold this dedication on this day. Last year, Mayor Fisher declared Juneteenth an official holiday in Louisville Metro. And in February, he established an executive order, a Juneteenth Jubilee Celebration Commission that planned and produced a citywide celebration of history that also supports our ongoing work to advance racial equity. So, that commission also worked with many of our corporate citizens, including UPS, Norton Healthcare, Republic Bank, Papa John's, the Humana Foundation, Kentucky Opera, Louisville Pride, Louisville Visual Arts, and Waterfront Park. So, the Juneteenth annual Freedom Day celebration to commemorate the belated announcement in 1865 to enslaved African Americans in Galveston, Texas, that the Civil War was over, is a significant moment in our nation's history, and every American should honor this day. Every American should also recognize that true freedom, the ability to achieve one's full human potential, is not a given for too many African Americans. The protests that we saw last summer, locally and nationally, and that continue, were a wake-up call that we have to make a greater commitment to racial justice and equity. That's why this celebration provides an opportunity to highlight Black-owned businesses, encourage Black entrepreneurship and wealth building, showcase the arts and health and wellness, COVID-19 vaccinations, if you haven't already gotten one, and participate in meaningful discussions about race, equity, and inclusion. I personally challenge residents of Shively to utilize this park as a place of reverence, recreation, and reflection. Reverence in honor of the name bearers. Recreation for the many and varied outdoor activities that will be in this location. And reflection, as Bernice King, the daughter of Martin Luther King Jr., so eloquently said earlier this week, to reflect on how we legislatively make progress in areas such as preventing voter suppression, accomplishing police reform, decreasing gun violence, stopping housing discrimination, solving healthcare disparities, and eradicating gaps among the races in education, and other things. Let's continue to move forward. But today, let's celebrate. May God bless the memories of Andrew and Charlotte Wade, and Paul and Ann Braden, who are forever intertwined and linked to substantial progress in the areas of civil rights and fair housing in our community. May God bless and make his face shine upon this, the Wade-Braden Peace Park, and the joy that it'll bring to everybody in the community. And may God bless and protect each one of you.
Next, we will have Keisha Dorsey, Metro Council District 3.
So I've been given my instructions. They're a little different today. But when Mayor Burton calls you and says, this is what you're going to do, that's what you're going to do. So to the Wades, to everyone here, I have a few words, but they're set to a bit of a tempo. We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe that we shall overcome someday. If you would join me in the last verse, it just simply says, we shall all be free. And I think that's today's declaration. We shall all be free. This is church. Look to your neighbor and tell them we shall overcome. Thank you.
That was nice, Keisha. I didn't know you could sing like that. Oh man! Did you guys know that? Yeah. Oh, okay. All right. Next we have Jeffersontown Mayor Bill.
Nobody can come any sweeter than that. God praise you. I just want to say, God bless the family that came ahead, that led us ahead. And I know you said that the families did not do that for any reason other than to have a home and to have a safe place, to have a loving place to raise the family. And God bless you for that.
Yes.
And we should cherish that and know that because they did that, they are the leaders of what is today. And today we have where everybody should be included, everybody should be a part of something, and everybody today, you look across what we have in this crowd, and it's a mixed crowd. It's everybody celebrating of the past and realizing our history brings us what we have today. And today, as the mayor of the city of Jeffersontown, and the past president of all the cities in this state, and past president of the cities of Jefferson County, which is 80. We have the present president, Bonnie John. And we have two other mayors with us. We want to say this is a countywide thing. We want to say that we are with everybody here. We want to unite everybody here so that everybody is included in the future of this community. But today we also want to celebrate those leaders that are leading Shively today. Those people that have stepped up and made Shively the great place it is today because of those leaders in the past. So we would like to have read the proclamation that we brought as a representative of all the cities in this county to say, we love you, Shively, and you are leading the way, the shining light of what we see in the future, what the city should be like. So as we proclamate Jefferson County League of Cities, to all those present shall come, Jefferson County City League would like to recognize and congratulate the City of Shively's Mayor, Beverly Chester Burton, and the City Council for the presentation and dedication of the Wade-Braden Peace Park. Whereas our history has violent evidence in our past, our challenge is to bring good from evil, and whereas once a place of violence now becomes a place of peace and reflection. And whereas one marked as a part of separation now has become a place to gather as a community, whereas the Wade-Braden family united to bring among great change at great risk and great cost, which we are called to celebrate in ceremony, whereas the president of the Jefferson County League of Cities do hereby claim Saturday, June 19, 2021 to be Wade-Braden Peace Park Day and urge all citizens to take notice of this special recognition. Thank you, Mayor, for doing this. God bless you.
Thank you, Bill. Next, we have Ruby Hyde with Shively Historical Society.
Hello, this is a great day in this nation. This is a great day in Kentucky, and this is a great day in Shively, Kentucky. Shively was formed in 1780 by the late William Shively, named after him. He bought 1,000 acres. And then we had mills out here. Mill Creek School is named after him. All the way down past Guards Lane and all around, there's farmhouses still exist here in Shively, and residents keep their property and their communities up to date. But today, I have a history on the Wade and the Braden cause. But each one of you all have said something about that history, but I have a legal history on it. and I just hold it because I don't have to talk about it today. However, the Bradens dedicated their lives in white causes of justice for all people. That's what they did. They dedicated their lives. And Charlotte and Andrew Wade just wanted to go and move somewhere where there were land, recreation, and open parks that all kids could play in. And that's when the realtor, many realtors they went through. And they got one realtor said we could go another way to get you in a nice suburb area. And the last realtor bought the home for them, and a couple of weeks changed the deed. And then that's where the injustice started. You got half a block is where the house is, down here on the other side. But things have happened so long and so many, so we here today to break the chains. We got more chains to break. But today is a start day. I want to give kudos to the mayor and to governor and all the elected officials and Joni. I've been in Shabby going on 44 years. And when I came to Shabby 44 years ago, Shabby was had about, I'm Catholic. So Shabby about 75% Catholic families. You know, St. Louis, St. Basil, St. Agnes, things all over Shabby. So I thought it was a wholesome city. But city ain't got nothing to do with your heart. If you're in some trouble, you broken in your heart, you're not going to talk and treat people the right way. But today is a new day. That's in the past. They got to keep moving forward. We got to keep going until we can't go anymore and let the next generation see what our work is about. Now, on a personal level, Mr. Andrew Wade was a phenomenal electrician. He and my dad were so close. My parents bought a house in the early 60s at 32nd and Broadway, where the big Catholic church is, 32nd and Broadway. They lived 3 doors behind the church. Now it's called St. Martin de Portland's Catholic Church. Well, by my father working for the government, and Mr. Wade, he did all our work, half of the neighbors' work after my father repaired it. Then he turned them on to the Catholic Church work. And so they had a bond. Anybody need an electrician, Wade electrician, white trucker, here it comes. So we knew the story of Wade. Now, 50, 40 years later, a classmate of mine showed up at my home over in Shabby, and he had his girlfriend with him. Well, his girlfriend was your oldest sister, Rosemary Wade. She was younger than I, but we sort of just grabbed in. And her boyfriend, Greg Kelly, said, she's Catholic. I said, well, I was St. Peter Clay with a little bit of Ursula, we came on down public school. She said, I'm a Loretta girl. And so we bonded from that point on. And today, Rosemary is in Vegas. But a little girl that came with her daddy to visit me on occasion is that little girl right there. That's that little girl right there. And I was with her the other day and we had a good conversation. Now, to Ann Braden. She came to the Braden house and bought the property. My mother was right there 3 doors behind the church. She sent some flowers out, seeing what the interest of the community would be. And she wasn't going to be a resident house, it was going to be a community house. So that she could do her work in it. A lot of people started protesting, but she got hold of the Chickasaw Block Club, and my mother was one of the co-founders of the Block Club, representing the 32nd Street corridor on down to Greenwood. And so we had block clubs all over the Chickasaw area. But I used to go to her office all the time. Yeah, this cigarette and lipstick on. And she said, well, they get a good salary. My mother said, well, if she's doing peace and justice work, she needs to be right here in this community. And so those are my personal touches but Shavley has become a better place and it's continued to break the chains. All over, we have good schools, Buckner and Western, and got a lot of STEM schools out here. And it's just nice, well-kept community. Everybody keep the landscape up. Everybody know each other. And just every time they have a function at the Shavley City Building or the park, it's nice. They just come and celebrate together in Shavley. And this is like the real world. I always said when I was young, I would like to see the city be reflected like we see it downtown reflected. Everybody. That's right. So today we continue with this story, but we just have more history as time goes on. But everybody talked about some history today. But I want to give kudos. I have Darling Block Club and Kingsville Road Block Club members here, and we do not play. We take care of that whole area. We meet the new neighbors. We keep up with help them if they need the landscape done, and we want to get to know them so that keeps the community safe. And then also I want to give kudos to our pastor. He came in from St. Louis Birthday Church, and we got a new nun with us today from New Orleans. And she's going to be here and studying with us. So thank you for coming, and all of you all. Keep the good work going. Now, I don't have no plaques today, but I got a call early this morning. I do the history for Smoketown, and that's the oldest African American community in the city since 1865, and both families will be getting plaques. They're coming off the press by 3 o'clock, so I'll make sure you get it. Keep us in sight, in prayer, and anything you all need, contact the mayor, the city council has done a great job. She always did. Her staff is out of state. Where her staff at? Oh, Big C and all the girls, they are out of state. We got full police security. If you call, you might not see them in there, but if you call one, here they come. I mean, and they ride the day time when nothing's going on. They ride your area. So thank each and every one of you, and take care. And God bless. Thank you. My oldest brother's over here from Hood. He's a retired official from Hood. And he lives about 3 streets over. He's in China. And then I have a dad lives out here in China.
Thank you, Ms. Ruby. Okay, next, we'll be having a groundbreaking. Beverly Chesterberg, our mayor, will let you know how we're going to be doing the groundbreaking.
Okay. The speaker, those here in the city council. We still need one member from the Wade family and one member from
Everybody can get up there and do it now.
Right? Know if there's enough shovels for all that?
I don't think so. Hey, Jerry. She told him one person.
Yeah,
I think you should be over there, though. You should definitely be over there. Yeah. Right.
Hey, friend.
She told him one person from one family. Yeah, each family. How you doing?
Y'all got more room if you go the other way.
Hey, friend.
Hey, you. Hey, oh, I didn't know you was here.
Of course.
You.
How you doing?
I didn't have to burn my battery power. I could have just shared you.
I'll do what I can.
Right. I want to pause and take a picture.
2, 1. All right.
Oh, can we do it one more time?
Come on, man. Put some work in, sweat equity.
Look at the camera, hold it. Everybody looking up at the camera.
Wait a minute, he's having a problem doing it. He is.
Oh, excuse me. Hey, Vinny, hey, excuse me. Could I get you to move back just a couple feet?
We'll keep trying a couple more times.
All right.
Just hold it there. Ready?
2, 1.
Buddy, buddy, the big old shell. Buddy, you know you'll do this.
Give us a minute.
Let us pray together, can we?
One moment, please.
Let's pray. Our God, we thank you for the Bradens and the Wades who got into good trouble.
Yes.
Help us to get into good trouble until justice runs down like waters and righteousness like a mighty stream. In thy name we pray.
Amen.
Amen.
Hey, you better give me something.
All right, y'all. I've been on here long enough. Hey, how you doing? I'm gonna go out to some other rooms. I am a homeowner in
Shanika Parrish-Wright is here, running for mayor. Check out her campaign.
Build a house.
And we'll give you all some shots of the lot here. Looking at Crumbs Lane right there. Kind of see the overpass in the background there. It's a pretty decent little sized area, so it's going to be interesting to see what it turns into. Somebody trimming some trees, that's the sound in the background there. Yeah, in personal opinion, I think it's a pretty good use of the space. It's been empty for a lot of years. Two amazing local families being honored here with it. So yeah, I can't wait to see it when it's done. Yeah, this is the Wade-Braden Peace Park. Thank you all for watching this Louisville Pro-Activist Report. Appreciate it, everybody. Share out, like, comment, all those good buttons. Hey, Josh. Yeah, it is, isn't it? Let me know in the comments what you all think. Is this good use of the space? What would you like to see? How would you like to see this park made? But that's all I got for you right now. Might be out some more this weekend. We'll have to see. Taking a look at a few things. But yeah, so that's it for now. Until next time, you all.